I think I was just trying to collect as much as possible to make the count after, you know. I do not stop and start to make a count on what I have done. I was just on my way, climbing up until get stopped by AJ. Congratulations, by the way. That was a clean one. He was quite special because he stopped me. He did what Tyson Fury couldn't done, you know. And
Is that now?
you know, he wasn't my day, and he's just way better than me today. So, yeah, it sucks, but it's the game. We all know that. It's the game. In fact, I didn't feel the punch. I think that's what the knockout is about.
Did I expect to win? I'll give my best. I don't like to predict anything. I'm telling you, yeah, heavyweight boxing is a league of its own. It's a different division, so anything can happen. I just, work hard, extremely hard. I think I can work a bit harder, be a bit more dedicated, but I work as hard as I can and put the rest in God's hands, innit? And what will be, will be. And it finished early because I say that destiny's already written, innit? So if it was meant to go, then it was meant to go. If it was meant to go 10 rounds, it was meant to go 10 rounds. If I was going to win, I won. If I wasn't, I wasn't. I don't overcomplicate it. We got the job done. And you know what's the best thing? Is I can get back to the gym and build on another solid training camp, and then I can get back in the ring and do another job. That's what I'm happy about.
In their highly anticipated bout, Anthony Joshua thoroughly destroyed Francis Ngannou, and Ngannou's second professional boxing contest finished decisively and violently as Edge scored 3 knockdowns and way to his second round TKO in Saudi Arabia. It was a difficult evening for the network. The brutal knockout artist is leaving the top ranks of mixed martial arts. However, even after being the victim of a vicious beating, Ngannou, who is always self-assured, told the media and fans that he is not done fighting. He may be down, but he is not out of the picture just yet. What could be in store for the most sought-after free agent in sports? After that devastating kill loss is a comeback to mixed martial arts. MMA coming? Or does Ngannou plan to return to boxing to obtain some much-needed experience against other opponents before we move on to whatever may come next for Ngannou? Before we get into their fight in Doha, Saudi Arabia, let's quickly review what happened against the previous unified heavyweight boxing champion, Anthony Joshua. Most anticipated a hiccup between Edge's more polished technical skill set and the booming force of the former UFC king. Joshua was clearly the clear favorite, but Inu was a live underdog from the start due to the excitement surrounding his MMA one-punch capabilities. But Ngannou was obviously no match for Joshua's quickness, agility, and basics. With a stinging jab and some lateral movement, Edge came out cool and collected, keeping the big, heavy-set Ngannou hesitant and having trouble finding his range. Joshua stunned the formidable Cameroonian midway through the opening round with a deft sequence of punches, putting the fighter down for the first time in his professional career. Even though he prevailed, it was a foreboding sign of things to come. The second round proceeded similarly, with Joshua's experience and sharpness neutralizing any possible attack from the flat-footed. About a minute remained. The former UFC champion was horribly crumpled by a stunning straight right hand. While the knockout loss itself was emphatic and potentially cast doubt over Ngannou's long-term boxing future, his words in the aftermath provided a window into where he could end up pursuing his combat sports ambitions next. In the immediate aftermath of that brutal co-defeat, Ngannou refused to make any definitive statements about what his next move entailed. Heat referee Michael Bates mercifully waved it off at the 149 mark as Ngannou lay unconscious on the canvas in a criminally one-sided showcase. Is it mixed martial arts, MMA, or something else? Speaking at the post-fight press conference, the 36-year-old Cameroonian stated, "I think I'm going to go home, get some rest, process what just happened, I'll process it, and then see what is the next step." That is an understandable stance given the likely lingering mental and physical cobwebs from being emphatically slept by one of boxing's living legends. However, Ngannou did make one promise to calm any worries that this one-sided defeat could potentially end his foray into the boxing world before it ever really got started. He continued, "Maybe MMA, But you can be sure that I'm not done here. Boxing, absolutely not. Those assurances should come as welcome relief for fans intrigued by the prospect of Ngannou continuing to improve as a boxer while he's still awaiting his highly anticipated full smart cage debut. After signing a lucrative multi-year deal, the former UFC champ clearly has his sight set on gaining more professional experience inside the boxing ring before any return to MMA. For the ultra-confident Ngannou, walking away from boxing after just 2 outings, even one as disastrous as the Joshua mauling, has clearly never been an option. He sees bigger things and greater challenges ahead for himself in this arena. So if Francis Ngannou does indeed intend to continue chasing his boxing dreams following this humbling setback against Joshua, who or what could potentially make sense as his next move, one option could involve finally getting hit in the ring with someone from his own MMA background, making the switch to boxing alongside him. There have been widespread rumors of Jake Paul targeting a boxing match against Ngannou, especially in the wake of the Joshua loss, potentially putting the Predator's value within a more reasonable striking range of Paul's price demands. While far from a shutout, on paper Paul is largely an unknown commodity at the elite levels of the boxing world, just like Ngannou himself was before the Joshua showcase. Provided the bitter contract disputes between the two sides could somehow be resolved, the Ngannou versus Paul event would generate tremendous mainstream appeal while giving each fighter a relatively even playing field against a smaller sample size of boxing pedigree. There's also always the option for Ngannou to aim for another incremental test against a more established pro boxer. However, given the disastrous results against Joshua, taking a minor step back in competition to face a lower tier, it could be wiser to start gaining confidence against a local rival before aiming for a more lucrative high-profile encounter. Either way you slice it, there seem to be several possible avenues for Ngannou boxing development to go forward, contingent on how rapidly he and his group seek to increase the challenge. It might not be the best idea to enter a highly competitive match right after the Joshua massacre against another really technical boxer. Whenever discussing where Francis Ngannou plans to take his next combat sports step, the logical starting point is his lucrative new long-term deal with the Professional Fighters League. The full smart cage provides Ngannou the revolutionary new platform and rules set to re-establish his dominance in MMA. After an acrimonious split with the UFC saw him depart as reigning heavyweight champion, and despite leaving the door open for continued boxing forays, the Cameroonian sluggard did reveal to media after the Joshua fight that an MMA return under the full banner remains a distinct possibility in 2024. So while Ngannou immediate future appears squarely focused on gaining more experience and exposure in the boxing ring, it certainly sounds like he has not forgotten about the organization paying him an 8-figure annual salary over the coming years. He has substantial financial incentives to eventually make good on returning to MMA. But any long-term plans are likely to be overshadowed in the short term by the idea of continuing to test he himself in boxing against the level of opposition warranted after enduring such a chastening loss against Anthony Joshua. The competitive spirit within Ngannou nearly begs for him to have another chance to exact revenge on Joshua, or demonstrate that he is better prepared the next time around when taking on a fighter with a distinguished boxing background. If Ngannou manages to fulfill his boxing commitments in 2024, a full MMA debut against the heavyweight, a major bout introduction like King Ferreira versus Bader looks like an incredible matchup to make that organizational premiere later in the year. And it's safe to say that kind of introduction would generate unprecedented attention and publicity from the combat sports world. In that sense, Ngannou appears to have a wide range of alternatives. Prioritize getting momentum initially. Whether he ultimately chooses to pursue redemption and traction in boxing, or to focus on cashing in his full contract with an MMA smash hit upon arrival. It's abundantly evident from Francis Ngannou's remarks and the plethora of exceptional opportunities at his disposal that this Joshua knockout loss was only a minor setback en route to something much bigger still to come. Regarding Ngannou's remarks and forecast for the rest of 2024 and beyond, what are your thoughts? Do you believe he's headed for redemption and future boxing success? Or will the money from the AFL eventually prove to be too good to refuse in favor of the squared circle? Leave a remark with your analysis, and let's continue the lively conversation. Make sure you hit that notice, like, and subscribe. Sign up for more in-depth video coverage of combat sports soon. This is just the beginning.